You're listening to Pro Booth Talk, education and insights for photo booth company owners.
All right, welcome back to the show. I'm Jason. With me always is Lap. We also have a guest with us today, Charles. Would you introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Hi, Charles.
Hello, guys. Hey, Charles. I am a photo booth owner in Honolulu, Hawaii. I've been doing it for about close to 10 years now, and yeah, we're just doing our thing over here.
So, what's the name of your photo booth company?
It's called H&L Photo Booth Company. So H&L, it stands for Honolulu. So it's called H&L Photo Booth Company. We also have a studio that also does primarily wedding photography, wedding film, DJ MC, and then photo booth. So kind of just those four key services. But then we also have a separate like commercial, section of our business where we kind of do commercial work, real estate, things like that.
Interesting.
That's
So we invited you on today primarily because you are also, like ourselves, passionate about moving the industry forward and promoting education. And you do that exclusively through YouTube. Is that correct? Or do you have a podcast? Tell us more about that.
Correct. So we do have podcasts. So we primarily do it kind of similar to how you guys do it. We record video, but then we also put out audio to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and that type of thing. So we do kind of push it out because we already have the content. But we're also on Instagram, TikTok, things like that, for sure. But primarily on YouTube. I feel like that's where a lot of people get their education. And I know when I first started, that's where I was searching on YouTube for sure.
Yeah, 10 years is a long time. What got you started on? Oh, go ahead, Jason.
I was just going to say YouTube's a really useful tool especially if you are like doing instruction or anything like Rex's channel, for example. He does a lot of walkthroughs and interviews, and it's really important. With us, we're typically just like talking heads, and we just put it on YouTube because we already have the format and we want to take advantage of every format we can. So typically with yours, what kind of education are you doing? Is it more instructional, or what kind of, if someone's going over there and has never heard of your channel, what can they expect?
And what podcasts are you looking for also? What's the name of the podcast as well?
Sure thing. Yeah, so it's called Charles Albert Photo Booth CEO Podcast, right? That's what it's called. And primarily, I think, kind of guess by the name, it's primarily focusing on the business aspect of photo booths. It's really helping newer photo booth owners who are kind of just getting into the industry or trying to, get more bookings, is really focusing on that. And then basically how to grow, find more clients, be more profitable, eventually get to six figures, and then scale and, be able to eventually have your business run on autopilot if that's what you're looking for. So it's primarily focusing on business, but we do talk a little bit about tech and a little bit about the different types of photo booths that are available, just because it's definitely a question that many newer photo booth business owners have.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of tech, but primarily we'll focus on how to be profitable and get clients.
That's awesome. How long ago did you start your podcast?
To be honest, like this has been something I've been cooking up since like 2017. Like it's been a long time, but it kind of got put on the back shelf. Trying to build up these other businesses that I kind of talked about, and then only up until honestly, 2023 August when that Lahaina Maui fire happened. So I am actually originally from Lahaina, Maui, and one of our homes was burnt down, and a lot of our family was affected. And so during that time, it really caused me to really look at what I'm doing. And we're doing well. Our family is doing great, trying to rebuild. But it really caused me and my wife to really look at what we're doing. And then we decided to really go all in on this, helping people grow their businesses. And so I started to build a small team to try and create content. And so we kind of just started posting about February 2024. And so most of our content has been from Photo Booth Expo so far. on 2024, and then we've already recorded quite a few videos right now, and we're gonna push them out soon. So yeah, just be on.
So what inspired you to start your podcast? Like, where was it to help others grow because of something that you struggled yourself? Are you wanting to have that resource available for newbies that we didn't necessarily, because 10 years is a long time in the industry. Yeah. Like,
It is.
art.
And so, yeah, no, great question. I really I love that lap. So I feel like for me, I had a very corporate background. So I actually have about 20 years, of military service. I was in the military for a long time. I worked as a government contractor and, federal GS employee. And I was just so used to following orders, basically, right? And photo booth was kind of like my gateway drug into entrepreneurship, right? I was into cameras, I was into photography, and so if I bought this piece of, somebody might pay me money. Like, is that a thing? And so, you know, long story short, I pulled the trigger on our first photo booth in 2015. It was a photo booth supply co legacy booth. So shout out to all my legacy owners out there. Um, and I was actually in a position where I was in between jobs. And so I was in between jobs, found myself out of work and with a baby on the way and this piece of tech sitting in my room. And I was like, I need to figure out how to get people to push this button on the screen, right? And so I really dove headfirst into business, watching every podcast, webinar I could. There wasn't that much going on at the time.
Yeah.
And I was just like scraping for information. Like, how do I figure out pricing? Like, it's not like how it is today. Like, everybody's talking about stuff, right? But back then it was just, there just was nothing much. And honestly, it was just like
Everybody
Facebook
was
groups.
their own way. Yeah.
Yeah. And so kind of fast forwarding the tape, kind of to where we are now, I'm definitely loving the business. I love what it does for my family, the ability that it allows me to, use my intelligence to be able to do new things. And I want to be able to give that to people that are wanting to start out, trying to break out of the 9 to 5, do something more interesting or creative, kind of basically help the person.
Yeah. I love
I
that.
like that.
It's scary too. It's scary for people who don't have the business background, who don't have the entrepreneur background. It's really scary to take that jump. So I think it's amazing that there's so many resources now versus back then. We really were all just fumbling through everything back then.
There was just a conversation on Facebook about that specifically. I can't remember who started it, but someone mentioned like it's such a different landscape even on Facebook. Like, I don't know, 6 to 8 years ago, it was just so different. Like the criticizing was so much less, and I think it's because so many of us were actually like learning together at the same
Still
time. Because
learning. Yeah.
now people can come in and just the answers are already there. They're already figured out. So why not ask?
They are there.
But back then, all of us were just kind of collaborating, working together to figure this thing out.
Yeah,
So it's changed a lot. It's interesting.
definitely, definitely. I totally agree with you guys. I know when I first got started, like it was pretty much very few people were willing to put stuff out there or share. So I know the relationships of like us 2015, 2016 owners, 2017 were really strong. And so I kind of took a step back like in 2017 to focus more on like multimedia, photography, video, that type of stuff. And then I'm kind of just now getting back into the photo booth industry, 2023. And I just see how much it's changed. It's really good though. I'm really liking it. I'm really loving that people are trying to put up more information. But honestly, it just makes it more fun. Now us as people who are putting out, education, just have way more colleagues now, I think. Right? Like I think back in 2016, 2017 or whatever time it'll be just like a couple people. Oh, you guys are in 2011. Oh my gosh. You guys didn't even know what to call it yet. Like if it was a photo booth or what. Like, yeah, I remember like, what's the open air? What's the
Open air.
difference? Like, do I sit in
Yeah.
the curtain? Right? That was the
Yeah, it was
days.
2013. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah. So definitely loving it, and it's exciting for me. just the what's going on.
In
Yeah, I
fact,
think the
when
innovation
I
is
first
amazing.
started, I can't remember. I'd have to check when it actually was, but I feel like all the groups were talking about the new software Darkroom booth. So I think it's like right when Darkroom came out, and before that, it was pretty much only Breeze that anyone was using. However long Darkroom booth has
Oh
been
my
in
gosh.
the
Breeze
market, it's about
1.0.
The dark ages, what I call them.
When Breeze didn't even have like a user interface.
Right. You just
yeah, and that's
pray.
why I went with Darkroom booth. Breeze was too intimidating for me at the time, like the folder systems and whatnot. I was like, man, I don't want any part of this. And Darkroom was much more had a better
Oh
user
yeah.
interface and was much easier to use for me.
Yeah, what was tough was people were doing so much cool stuff with Breeze, and you got kind of like a little jealous a little bit. Like, wow, that looks so cool. But then you're like, stick to Darkroom. Works. Oh,
Yeah, and
sure.
now Breeze is doing so much more. I mean, with the user interface, it's just, in my opinion, really leaving Darkroom Booth behind. Like, Darkroom Booth like came out really strong, but hasn't really pushed forward since the Darkroom Booth 3.0, which was, I don't know, 2016 or 15 or something like that. So it's been quite a while since they've really pushed their product forward. And
Yeah.
I think Breeze is still intimidating a lot for a lot of people, but man, if you just put that effort into just locking yourself down and getting down the basics, it really is so powerful, so powerful.
and we still use it. I love
I mean, I
Darkroom Booth.
remember
I'm not
Breeze when there was no user interface. It was just
yeah.
folders. Now at least you have like a menu in the back and stuff like that.
For sure. It's a lot better now. I did take a look at it like I think earlier this year. Just kind of see what's up, but yeah.
So in your photo booth world, what kind of events are you doing? I assume it's your traditional photos, your 360s. Like, you doing anything out of the box, anything crazy, or are you more of the static in the middle of the lane stuff, like most of us?
Yeah, no, great question. So out in Hawaii, I feel like the biggest drivers are still pretty much the traditional ones, which are, a mirrorless photo booth that prints and 360. I feel like those are the two most in demand currently for photo booth. Um, we do get requests here and there for other items. We also have ring roamers. That's been quite popular a little bit. I want to say it's like kind of really, really brings home the bacon, but it has its demand, and usually they're typically corporate clients and they're willing to pay for higher packages. But for the most part, bread and butter for sure is still mirrorless booths that print, and 360 is really popular. What's great about 360 is like the amount you can charge, like the price ranges. There's still a lot of people. I don't know why they do this, but they're still charging like $500-$600 an event, $700, and like we're asking for 2,800, 3,500, 4,500, and our clients are paying for it. So it's like I don't know, why they don't try to push up. I think it's just due to inexperience or, fear of raising their prices. And so that's to why I want to be on here, being able to provide content is to kind of have people to shoot for that it's, you can raise your pricing, you can be more profitable when you put certain things in place. I'm sure you guys, understand I'm preaching to the choir here, but you can definitely do more, especially if you've invested like so much money into like a 360 platform. And you're not just spending for that, you're spending for like the tablet, the camera, the lights, the
Figuring out
cord,
the
all
workflow.
that. It adds
Yeah.
up, the team, and then things
Yeah, and
break, spares. So
it's just a conversation that just keeps going, and you can never talk about it enough. I think, like personally, I support, I guess not the under budget people that aren't making a profit, but I fully support that there should be different price areas in the photo booth world, and I don't understand why everyone is always criticizing people for having $800 booths, because there's clearly a demographic for that. But you're right. I think a lot of people are still undercharging because the things that you said, like inexperience, fear of raising their prices. I mean, we're all there. I was grossly under charging for a long time, and like it was very scary to say, okay, I'm going to increase my price by 50%, because if that doesn't work and nobody books, that puts you in a really tight spot if you're depending on that money. So it's really scary trying to move that up and push that. But I think also that a lot of people think that people are just lying. I saw a post recently where someone mentioned that they were making like $90,000 a year gross, and someone commented like, no, photo booth companies are making $90,000 a year, and like
I
I
remember
feel like
that.
most photo booth companies are, maybe not most, but a large percentage of photo booth companies are making 90,000 plus per year. So it's just, I don't know. I guess they do think we're lying, or that a lot of people are lying, but it's there, and there's ways to get there. There's people that are willing to help you get there. There's education out there. You just have to be open to listening, and not so many people are just
Shutting
steadfast.
down. They're shutting down. Yeah. And they're not being open to. I feel like we have so many resources now, and it's such a blessing because we really did. When the three of us say this was not available, we really were just fumbling around in terms of like pricing. We didn't know packages. None of us knew what we were doing. We were all just finding our way every step of the way. And now it's like, it's so nice that there's so many people that are open to sharing their experiences. And the unfortunate thing is not everybody's open to listening or taking on that advice. But man, I wish that I would have saved myself all of us would have saved so much money. We would have saved so much time, our own R&D. Like, had we had these resources, though all those that decade ago, I mean, it would have just been so nice because we really had to figure all this stuff out ourselves in the dark.
And not only are they not open to taking information, but a lot of people seem to be like critical of people giving information, and accusing you of not lying, or saying that you're sharing this information to look like you're better than other people. And it just blows
Yeah.
my mind that people are so angry at people that are providing free, valuable information to them.
But you have to think that not everybody has the connections and like relationships that some of us, that have been in this industry for as long as we have. Like, we're very lucky that we have others who will, like the last podcast we put out about defending your pricing, like I had several people that pushed me like and told me that you are not charging. And in my mind, because I'm still figuring everything out, 10 years ago, I didn't understand that I was just like Jason, like neither of us knew that we were underpriced. But we had other connections within the industry that, folks that have been doing this longer. And we had that relationship where they were able to give us that advice. Not everybody in the industry has that now because it's grown, exponentially. We're lucky we were in it in the early years. So we have, so I feel like some folks, instead of like feeling like we're here to attack you, because I don't think any of us had that malicious intent. It's more just like we want to save you the heartache and the trouble and the money that we all dumped into our own path. Like if you can start making money before we did, I mean, that's going to benefit you. It doesn't benefit any of us to sit there and like insult you on you not. It doesn't impact my pocketbook. It doesn't impact any of us. We want to help you to grow and be profitable faster than it took us. I feel like that's the misconception that a lot of people have. Like it's this high horse, and it's not.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that for sure. And it's just one of the things that we have to kind of push through and just understand. Like eventually, they'll come around. They don't have to necessarily believe what we're saying, but understand that there can be more to what they're thinking, right? Just kind of opening their mind a little bit when it comes to just things like pricing. Like seriously, like yeah, I could see that. Like I see YouTube comments like there's no charging that. That's impossible, or like Facebook groups. And yeah, it's tough. It's just like, what do we have to gain to lie? Um, it's yeah, it's just one of those things. But I know for us, it's not easy, right? Wanting to put out content out there to help people, and so we just got to keep, pushing forward. And just the five haters, there's one person there that could really use this information or find it inspiring, or really help them get over a really big roadblock they're going through, whether it's through their business or mindset and whatnot. So
And not everything that we put out and not everything that you hear, you're going to absorb and make those changes right away. Like my personal experience, I had, like 4 or 5 people telling me for like 2 or 3 years to raise my prices. And one day I just finally like, okay, what I'm doing is not working. It's time to shake it up and change it. And it was extremely, if you're wondering, like nothing that we've done in our careers have been an easy transition. Like I, I, I think I like tripled my price overnight and I had people hanging up on me. I had people me while I'm trying to pitch to them because, I had like low budget clients for, 4 or 5 years. And then suddenly they had heart attacks when I was like three times the price. It took me a while to understand there's different ponds that we all fish from, and so really scary because at that time in my career, I didn't know that there was different markets. I just thought it was a free for all. Like you just provide services and sometimes someone high end will book you, sometimes someone low, and it's not really the case. So when I finally listened, I took the advice, and it was extremely scary. I thought I was going to go out of business, you guys. I'm not lying to anyone. Like I
It's
thought I was
scary.
going to go bankrupt. I mean, yeah. Imagine like in the middle of your sales pitch, and someone's just like, like downtown in the middle of you talking. Yeah, because so it's a whole different clientele. When you market to a high-end clientele, you're not gonna attract a budget, and it goes vice versa. If you're marketing to budget clientele, and it takes a while for you to learn that, but like having that support and like someone who has been down that road to give you some coaching and like advice and guidance, it really does help, for those moments where you just don't feel like you really have it in you to take that chance. Because I felt like I just was like, I thought I gave up my business one.
And I
the
think
crazy thing is like,
guidance, like you just said, is the key. Like we're certainly not. We can only guide. Like we can't even say that anything that we are doing is even correct.
it's right or wrong.
All we can say is
Yeah.
this is what we're doing and it's working for us.
This is what
What
works
you're doing
and
may
what
be
hasn't.
better, or what we're both doing may
Yeah.
be completely wrong. But this has been our experience, and we're sharing that with you.
And sometimes, yeah, I feel like the perspective helps too, because sometimes you get stuck in your perspective. We talked about this in a past podcast where we're talking about like iPads. Like it took me like 5 years to, like finally embrace it. Jason, because he wanted content, he embraced it a lot earlier than me, but I was anti iPad. Now, so it's sometimes it's perspective. Like someone has to get you to see the value of something. Like I know those robot sketch arms. I was one of those ones that was laughing at first, and sometimes you got to see it from someone else's perspective on the value of it. And I feel like that's the goal for what we want to put out there. Like we just want everybody to hear like what's worked, what hasn't, and maybe you can hear a different approach, a different viewpoint on how you're seeing things.
Yeah,
and it could
concerning
benefit
those,
you.
off topic a little bit, everyone that's come for PBX or has visited Vegas or any other big city has seen like the chain of 360s on Fremont Street. I noticed the other day, or actually Allie was down and she sent me a photo. There's a kiosk doing the sketch bot. They have a bunch of sketch bots set up on Fremont Street now.
Already? Whoa.
It's reached the ground
I
level.
got those texts, I think, whenever we have friends who go to Vegas and they see the sketches and the 360s and they think of you. I think that's
Yeah.
kind of cool,
Yeah.
actually. Like
Yeah.
when they think of a photo booth, they're like, "Hey, check this out," and like to you, it's like, "Ah, crap. Okay, I don't want to see this," right? But it's kind of cool, right? They think of you, so I mean, it means you're doing something right.
Yeah. You're planning yourself. Yeah. I think it's funny when they send you like the bloopers of the 360s and you're the first person to send it to.
Right. And our friends like to talk trash about other photo booths they see. I don't know if you see that or if you notice that. It's just me. Like I notice people that are like, "Oh, this isn't as whatever," and "Oh, the cords are everywhere." Like I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
No,
I think
Literally
I
talking
see that
trash,
from
but
like
then they're-
I'll see it in the industry. Like DJs will tell me, and I'm like, this feels great, but are you lying just because you're standing here, kind of like when you're talking to your wife, you're talking trash about your ex-girlfriends? Is it that kind of thing? Do you tell them the same thing when you're talking to them? Do you talk trash about us? I don't know, but yeah, we see it all the time.
you're always thinking, okay, so I
I
don't
know I
think of
am.
it
I
as talking
overthink
trash, you
everything.
guys. I think
I'm
of it more
currently
like it's
overthinking the
really
comment that
awesome.
that you made that I'm overthinking that right now.
I think it's really awesome when you have like, because I think we all have experienced this. Like your family and your friends are usually like the last on board when you chase after becoming a photo booth owner. They're usually the last to support you, and it's just because they don't have the same vision. Anyways, it's really awesome when your family and friends, they don't know why your photo booth looks cleaner or looks more high end. They don't know why it looks just so like it's worth so much more. They can't even put into words. I think that's such a compliment. Like they never sit there and say, "Oh, it's because your gap is
Mhm.
straight." I always bring up gap because that's like that's one of my things. Yeah, because I didn't know about gap being straight, but like your family and friends, they when they see other photo booth companies, they always come to me like, "Oh, Lab, we saw this. Oh my gosh, not the same as yours," and they don't even themselves know why it's different, but know that you are worth more than a lot of these providers, and it's because of like the investment that you put into your company and like how you deliver and how you brand yourself and the type of images and setup. So I think that's such a compliment. I don't think they're trash talking. I don't even think they realize what's different. They just know
Yeah,
it's different. We know it's the gas.
it's always the gaff.
It makes a difference. But yeah, just presentation and like the I think like how interactive your team is too. Like they can never pinpoint exactly what it is, but it's a different experience for them, and so I think it's such a great compliment, especially like when your staff come on and then you tell them how much that you charge. A lot of us that aren't in the industry, like on Craigslist, they have photo booths for like 100, and people think it's $150 rental. So when your staff comes on board and you tell them how much they charge, when they first are onboarding, they're like, "Oh my gosh, how does this company charge this?" Right?
Mhm.
And as they've been with us, as they grow with us, they realize like, man, they don't even hesitate when they talk about like, this is why we charge what we do. There's no hesitation because they know exactly the difference. So it's cool seeing them from like when they come off the street versus like once they're acclimated with the team and they understand the value of what we bring.
Yeah, especially when they're out at events and they happen to see other booths and they have something to actually compare to, or they're getting the feedback from the other vendors and they're understanding what kind of service they're providing, and it certainly instills them with a sense of pride as well that I love seeing
Right.
come across.
Yeah. I think the funniest experience I have is like I have to bring back the gap because that's such a big one. Like when I bring on new team members, like I have a very specific way of how they lay down the cord and gap it. And at first, all of my team members are like, "This is lap is so ridiculous." Like they send me setup shots. I'm like, "Redo your gap. That looks horrible. It's not straight." And they think it's the most ridiculous thing when they first come on board and train. And as they've been with me for a while, now they see gap of like DJs and other photo booth companies. They're like, "Oh my gosh, now I see why you make such a big deal about like how our cords are laid and making sure it's lined up with the photo booth." So it's really I love that type of feedback from people.
Yeah, it's great. That's great. It's the little things for sure.
Yeah.
Um, it's the little things that your guests see, but also the little things that you emphasize with your team. It really just shows like you're shooting for excellence. That it's not just
Yeah.
Awesome. So obviously, on the same note of promoting education, like I guess a lot of people in the photo booth industry talk about collaboration over competition and whatnot, but especially here with education, like we're bringing Charles on here, like we're not competitors. We're all passionate about educating the industry. So we bring each other on here, and it's something that we're going to start doing a few times a year, just to make sure everyone knows about all the free education that's out there and different places that you can go to learn and to raise your brand, raise your prices, raise the experiences that you're providing people, hire and train better people. These are all things that we want to get out there, and we're happy to bring other people that have that same mission to help spread that word. So definitely, thankful that you joined us today. We'll
Yes.
probably go ahead and wrap up, but I want to make sure we'll add it in the show notes and stuff as well, of course. But please tell us again where people can find you so they can jump off this podcast and go
yeah,
check
sure
out
thing.
some of your
I
stuff.
thank you. Yeah, we're definitely on YouTube, so definitely check us out there. It's Charles Albert Photo Booth CEO, and it's really to help people grow and have profitable and purposeful businesses. So if that's kind of your thing and you're looking for, somebody to help guide you and provide you with resources and steps forward, or maybe just to goof off and joke around, I'm down with that too.
Perfect. Well, thanks for joining us again, Charles.
Thank you, Charles.
Yeah, absolutely. So are you going to London by chance?
London,
PBX
not
London?
exactly. I'm gonna try and see how that goes first, as far as like see what people are up to. But I'm definitely shooting for Vegas again, and
Okay, cool. So if you make it to
how that
Vegas, we'll
goes.
get together.
I'm gonna be there in London.
I'm about 90%. We're trying to figure something out right now.
Oh, all
We'll
right.
see.
We'll
Yeah,
see.
I gotta ask my CEO, my wife. So we'll if she has a command decision that changes, I'll definitely.
Yeah, I was all in until I asked my CEO, and now I'm like, I think I am trying to make it work. All right, thanks, Charles.
Totally get it. I got you.
Yeah.
There's you guys.
All right. Bye. Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
To keep the conversation going, join our Facebook group, Pro Booth Talk Community. If you enjoyed this podcast, consider showing your support by subscribing, liking, reviewing, or sharing this topic with someone in the industry.